What's up, everybody? This is Larry.
And I'm Arnisa. Welcome back to the Short Talk Podcast, where we discuss everything about love, marriage, relationships, and everything in between, and keep it
short. All right, everybody. We talking about parenting this episode. Oh, man.
Yes.
If you are a parent out there, you do know the struggles of being a parent.
Yes. But definitely some struggles that come with parenting.
Definitely some struggles. Oh,
for
my
sure.
God. If I reminiscing about it, yeah, it was some hard time, but we made it through them hard times, and we got a big boy right now.
Yep.
So let me tell you something. Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
How was the parenting experience for you?
Well, first of all, for me I've always wanted to be a mom. Like, I knew for a fact from a young age that I wanted to be a mom. I always had a dream of having like 3 kids and just being that type of mom that do a bunch of activities, go a bunch of places, probably spend a bunch of unnecessary money, but at the same time, like, I always knew I wanted kids. So I've always been excited to, like, think about the thought of being a parent.
Yeah, I know. I've always wanted to be a father. I had a good father who did a lot for me, and I wanted to have a kid in this world and do the same thing my father did with me as well. So it was definitely something that we both kind of agreed upon. Like, okay, we've been together for a while. Mm-hmm. Let's start trying to work on having a family.
Right. So initially, for me, I knew that I wanted to wait until I got married to have kids. For the simple fact, I was not raised in a household with 2 parents.
Yeah.
More so primarily with my grandma, but I knew for me and my future that I wanted to have that for my child.
Yeah, I know. I had both of mine. So,
right.
And I knew when I met you and you told me that, I knew I was like, well, this is sort of like the perfect woman. It was one of them things that kind of was on my checklist. I was like, wow, she want to be a mom, and be married and have kids. I was like,
right.
That's a good thing. So basically, how it all started out for us is that we was trying, and it was kind of difficult at first, and I know a lot of people go through a difficult time trying to have kids, but it was sort of kind of difficult for us at the beginning.
Yeah, I have always just been a person that had like irregular menstrual cycles, and most of you women know what that is. You're not getting your cycle every 28 days. Sometimes it might be 24 days, 25 days, but I was not a person that had regular menstrual cycles, and so that made it even more difficult to try to conceive and get pregnant.
Yeah, because we was like really planning at a point, like planning like, okay, we do it this day, and see how it work out, and then we all of a sudden just kind of gave up hope on it. Just were like, just let the cards fall how they fall,
right?
And then bam, one day on a Friday,
right?
She decided to take a test, and she came out said she couldn't look at it, so I went in to look at the results, and it came out positive.
So just to give y'all a little bit of a backstory about how I came to even take this pregnancy test. Basically, I was at work all day, and my cycle was late, but I was used to it being like a week late. So I was craving like yellow rice for some reason this particular day, and my supervisor asked me at the time, she was like, "You sure you're not pregnant?" I was like, "No." I was like, "I'm not pregnant, no way." She was like, "I don't know if you noticed, but you've been talking about this yellow rice like the entire day."
So you were craving it.
Real bad. So when I got home, Larry was like, I had a pregnancy test just to keep him around, just in case. And I got home, and Larry was like, okay, well, if you take it, I'll buy you another one. I'm like, I don't see no point in taking it, but okay, whatever. So took the test, left it in the bathroom, and that's how he went about seeing the results that were positive. So how did that make you feel when you saw the results before you came back out to tell me?
It was happy. I was gonna play a joke on you, but I was like, it was a serious moment at the time where I was like, I ain't gonna play with her about this.
But I initially thought you were joking when you came back out, because we joke a lot
all the time. And
right.
She thought I was actually joking about it. I was like, nah, I'm dead serious. Go in there and look at it. And she went in there, and we were happy, of course.
Very happy and excited.
So who was the first person you told?
Ironically, the first person I actually told was my best friend. Believe it or not, before I even told my parents, I told my best friend first. Because we both she already had kids, so she had been rooting for me. So I just felt like I wanted to kind of share that news with her, because I knew she would be excited about it, and she was.
Yeah, I know. your grandmother was excited as well.
Oh yeah, she had already kind of had a hunch. She had been, you know, how older people have those dreams where they like, oh, you know, I dreamed a fish.
Yeah, superstitions.
And she kept calling me, you know, and I kept saying, no, I'm not pregnant. Although I had just found out, but I wanted to tell her face to face.
Yeah,
so,
I know she was happy. She was happy that we were having a baby, because she used to always say like, y'all gonna be the best parents ever.
Right.
Yeah. But,
do you remember how you brought news to your parents, or how we broke the news to them? Do you remember?
Of course. You know, I bought them a gift, right, and it had a onesie on it about being grandparents, and they opened it up and they were shocked. Their mama was happy. She was
very shocked.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna do backward flips up in that world for real, but she was definitely happy. And you know, we was, as time went on, we was letting people know gradually. And, you know, and then
my mama.
Your mom, your dad, a couple cousins.
Well, my mom, I called her on the phone, and she was at work like she always is, and I just told her on the phone, I was like, Mama, you know, I found out I was pregnant. She was like, wait, what? I was like, yeah. She was like, oh. She was like, wow, okay. She was like, well, congrats to y'all. So I think she was just kind of in shock initially. Yeah,
being a grandma, a nanny as she call it now.
Yeah.
But definitely it started a journey of us, you know, going to doctor visits and being there. I made sure I was there every step of the way.
Right. Yeah, you were.
I didn't want her to feel like she was alone in doing that, so I went to every doctor visit, took her there and back. You know what I'm saying? Baby showers, getting stuff together. It was a lot. It went by fast now that I think about it. But
let me say this. I think it's so important when you're going through a pregnancy alone. And man, hear me out there. Just from a woman's standpoint, it's so important for women to feel supported during their time, because your body is going through so many changes.
Right.
You're, you know, learning everything new. You know, you're trying to make sure you're healthy for this person that you're about to bring into the world, so you don't know what to expect. But I feel like if a woman has full-on support, it makes her journey 10 times easier. Yeah,
that was my goal, basically, from the jump, like, because you don't want her doing this alone. You got to understand, she's carrying your seed at the end of the day. So her health is just as important as your kid health. So me personally, I don't understand it, but hey, look, you know, everybody ain't me. But me personally, I was there, and I told myself I was gonna be there. So if you a dude out there that's not putting in that effort, bro, just step up and do what you gotta do.
Yeah, and you might need to like rethink things, because it's just so important to make sure that you're supporting that person. And so, you know, we went through a bunch of appointments, and you know, I learned a lot about my body, how I was feeling, and you know, it was a very, very important time in my life, you know, after getting married, because I was really in shock that I was really about to be someone's mom. Yeah. Although I was super excited, but definitely still scared and nervous at the same time.
Yeah, I was. As we got closer, I knew. I was like, like it coming. It like you happy. It's like Christmas, and you getting a gift and you don't know what to do with it. Like it's coming, and I remember that day. You remember that day where it happened? I remember.
Yeah. Actually, I want to ask you, do you remember what my fear was about being pregnant when it was time to go in labor? Do you remember the one thing I said, man, I hope we don't have to do this before we head to the hospital to have this baby? Do you remember what it was?
Dudes, right?
No, that wasn't it. That was my number one thing. It was something I was hoping that you wouldn't have to do before we left. Do you remember?
Nah, my memory kind of clouded.
Y'all, the whole time I was pregnant, I was like, man, I hope this dude do not have to stop and get gas when I'm in labor.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm in mad pain. And he was like, nah, I'm going to make sure we got gas in the car. Guess who had to stop and get gas on the way to the hospital?
Man, look, hey, till time then, I had to stretch every gallon back then. every gallon I had to stretch.
Right.
I remember getting my haircut that day.
Yeah, you were gone like all day.
And I was gone all day, and it was
from work to the haircut to grocery shopping. Like, you did a lot. I give you that. You were busy that day.
But I was busy, but you know, my parents was over.
It was the day before
and she was cooking Thanksgiving dinner because you was, you know, closer to your due date.
Right.
And I remember you were just sitting up in the bed all night long, like, oh my gosh, you finna have this baby.
On Thanksgiving, which I did not want to do at all.
At all.
I had plans on eating mad food.
For real. Like pigging out watching the game. Oh my gosh, she was sitting up. I fell asleep and woke up. She's still in the same position. I was like, we gotta go. Because, I knew she was having it. So it was freezing out. And
it was cold.
It was cold and, having to wipe off the windshield because it was so much ice. And then, like she said, had to stop and get gas because we weren't going to make it. And we got there. It was all morning experience. She was in pain, the whole shebang bang.
I want to know, like, from women out there and also from you, about, like, the epidural. Do you think that, although it's not super safe to get epidurals, but I feel like somebody that is like has a low pain tolerance like me, that an epidural is important, because I was in a lot of pain that I'd never experienced before, and being the first time like mom, that was a lot of pain.
Yeah, I saw the look in your face. I think I've never seen you in so much pain in your life, even up to this date.
Right.
So it was definitely, if I feel like if you're in pain, no matter who you are, take what you need so you can feel comfortable. Don't try to thug it out and be like, I'm going to be a soldier.
Right.
If you in pain, get comfortable as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, because I didn't care at all who said what. To push it out natural, I have a low tolerance, and I know that, and I knew my limits on my body, personally. So
when she was in the room, it got to a certain point where she had to start pushing. I was in the room, of course, and our baby boy came out.
We decided actually that we wanted it to be just the two of us for the birth of our son. Even though our parents wouldn't mind being in there, but we just wanted it to be us.
Yeah,
it was a moment we wanted to just share.
First kid, so we definitely wanted to just be us in the room. And, he was born at...
Do you remember?
6 pounds, 11 ounces?
No, 6 pounds, 15 ounces.
15?
Yeah.
I was close. I was in the ballpark. 11, 15. But, he was a good looking baby. He was looking around.
It was the most awkward thing I've ever seen in my life. Man, but you know what I thought about?
What that?
After he was born, because he was so calm. And some people that know me know this, but my grandmother, who I was super duper close with, I'm close to both of my grandmas, but my grandma, who wanted me to become a parent real bad, ironically, she died about 6 months before I gave birth. Yeah. And so her favorite holiday was Thanksgiving, and this was going to be the first holiday that I spent without her. And it was almost like I had my son on that exact day as a way to like honor her, and like I was very like humbled in that moment. Yeah. And it's like he came right on time, and he was just so quiet. He was just looking around. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, I ain't never seen a baby looking around like that. I mean, like looking around like what going on.
I remember what my mama said. Y'all just excuse my language, but my mama said, why that baby looking like, what the hell y'all looking at? It was like the funniest thing, but it was so true.
It was looking right. Who y'all folk?
Right.
I know your voice, but who the rest of y'all?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it was a mind-blowing experience, being a first-time father, being in the room and seeing all the stuff they had to go through, what a woman has to go through. And that's the thing that got me like, bro, these women go through a lot when they having these babies, and it really, we don't have to go through that pain at all. No. And for y'all to go through that pain for childbirth is definitely a sight for sore eyes.
Yeah, I think men should at least experience the pain, just so they can see what come along with it, because it's not easy out here, although it's so hard, and in that moment, everything in you wants to give up, but you knowing that you're going to meet that little person, like, very soon it basically gives you the strength to keep going. Yeah,
it definitely gives you extra motivation to go harder, every single day. So, after the birth, of course, we got kind of settled in the hospital for a couple days. And then it was time to go home. Remember what?
It was time to go home.
It was time to go home. It was sort of like, okay, like, all right, this is this should be a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Know,
You remember what that nurse told you before we left?
What she said?
Do you remember?
She said something slick. She said something slick. I don't know the exact word.
It wasn't anything slick. She just told him that.
What?
Do you remember? Or you want me to tell it?
Go ahead, tell us.
She told him to make sure he take care of us, and that it was all on him now. And y'all, he looked like he was scared than a mug when we left. Yeah. He didn't say nothing, but his face told it all for me.
Yeah, it was like I would start hearing that sound and feel like. Like, yeah, like, whoa, like you going too far, all on me, like. But I remember them first couple weeks, you know, because both of us was working during the day, so at night we kind of shared the responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, waking up, feeding them, and all that stuff, and we used to be dead tired going to work.
Yeah, I remember.
First couple of weeks was crazy.
Yeah, I remember our first night home. It was nothing like we expected it to be. Like, we knew the baby would wake up every 2 hours, but knowing that and going through that are totally different. And I remember we were so exhausted that we woke up for like the third or fourth time, and we just looked at each other and bust out laughing.
Just laughed at each other so hard, like, man, this is not what we expected at all. This is way out the ordinary, and I think with that, you know, it kind of gave me a different perspective too on how to, you know what I'm saying, like, okay, like you got stuff you got to juggle. Some of us as parents, we have to juggle being parents and doing other things, at the same time, and you know, and it can be hard sometimes, but you know, you just have to power through it, I think.
Yeah, I feel like becoming a parent, if nothing else, it definitely teaches you how to multitask. Like, I'm already a person that's good at organizing and multitasking, but parenting definitely like adds on to that and pushes you in a whole different direction that you may not have been expecting to go to. Yeah,
it definitely is something that nobody can tell you how you're going to handle it. It's something you have to walk for yourself. You have to do that for yourself to actually know how hard it is to raise kids.
That's true.
And not only that, you know, sometimes, you know, kind of, you know, the difficulty sometimes, you know, your kid might have some things that, you know what I'm saying, that might go wrong. They might get sick. They might have a deficiency. You know, you have to deal with all of this at one time and pack it into your day. You know what I'm saying? It can get kind of hard, but, you know, as parents, like you said earlier, you know, when you got a little kid that look up to you and relying on you, you got to go extra hard. You got to, you know, be tired sometimes. You got to be dead tired sometimes.
Yeah. And, you know, another thing that most women struggle with, and even their partner might struggle with and not understand is after giving birth to a baby, you know, there's the option of going through not an option, but you may go into postpartum depression. And it's something that is talked about very broad and something that should always be discussed because you're so overwhelmed, you're exhausted, like your body goes through a lot and you're trying to settle into this new life, but also make sure that you're okay on the inside and taking care of yourself.
Yeah, you have to make sure that you're fine. So I got a question. How was it for you after having our son? How did you feel?
I didn't feel depressed or anything, but I was definitely overwhelmed trying to get into like a routine. But for me, I think one of the most important things that I do still to this day with our son is being into a routine. That really helped me balance life. I was able to make sure I was still cooking dinner, making sure he was fed, making sure like, you know, our clothes or whatever we needed for the next day was already prepped. So it was definitely hard though, especially like trying to get back into a sexual place with your partner and having a baby. It can be very hard on a woman just because you may not be physically satisfied with the way you look.
Yeah, and guys gotta understand that too. That you know, if you're going through that, you know, having basically taken a year off of your life to protect yourself, to eat healthy, not to do nothing too detrimental to your body, so this baby can be healthy. As men, I feel that we have to be more understanding when it comes to that.
And be more supportive.
Because some men still put that pressure on y'all to still like cook and clean and, you know, satisfy me how I want to be satisfied without even taking in consideration that this person went through this. And I feel like as men, we have to be more supportive in that.
Yeah, and I think one of the ways like that men can be more supportive is just, do something simple like maybe just cook dinner for that one night, or maybe do the laundry, or do something along the lines of that will take that one task off your partner, because believe it or not, women have a lot on their backs. Not saying that men don't, but shout out to all the single dads out there if you're a single dad, because I know that they have some of the same struggles that a single mom may have, or just a woman in general, trying to juggle so much and being a working mom on top of that.
Yeah, being a working mom and taking care of the house and taking care of kids it's a struggle. Even no disrespect to the stay-at-home moms. You stay-at-home moms, y'all soldiers too. Y'all taking care of your kids. Y'all deserve all the praise too. But when you add all that other stuff into it, having to work an 8-hour job, sometimes even 12 hours, and still gotta take care of another human being, sometimes 2, even 3, 4, 5, or how many you have, it can definitely be a struggle. Y'all are real MVPs out there, no doubt.
Yeah. So, we went through all those things, but it obviously helped us grow into becoming parents that we are now. And ironically, our son is getting ready to turn 9 in next week.
Yeah, next week. He'll be 9 years old.
I'm excited, and I enjoy all the memories I get to make with him. And anybody that knows me knows how I feel about my baby and how I feel about my son. So I love it.
So as we wrap this thing up, I'm gonna ask you one final question. Okay. What thing about our son that kind of blows your mind now he's about to turn 9? It's like, wow, really?
I think just listening to him talk, a lot of times he's, to me, kind of wise beyond his years, but one of the funniest things recently has been him trying to wear deodorant. And I don't know why he think it's so hilarious, but every time he put on deodorant, he just started laughing, and I think it's so hilarious that he thinks that putting on deodorant is funny. I don't know. I guess he think it making him like a man or something.
Yeah. Just like he told me the other day, he was spraying on cologne.
Yeah.
I told him why you spraying on cologne? You ain't ready for that. Yeah, I want to smell good. Oh. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. I think the thing about him is seeing his personality unfold a little bit as he get older. He growing up and he developing his personality, which is sort of like a mixture between me and his mama. He show glimpses of her sometimes he show glimpses of me, and I think that's the evolution of him getting older.
Very silly.
And it's cool to see him grow in that manner, I guess. It's crazy, which is funny.
Yeah. So those are just some of our favorite things and some of our tips about parenting. We're going to go ahead and just close out today's episode. So we will catch y'all back next week for another episode.
Yeah, no doubt. Y'all stay safe out there. Anybody on our social media, we thank y'all for supporting us. We love y'all. Stay safe out there.
All right. We'll see y'all later.